ask you a question.
Like, this is how they play the game, bro.
Do you think that black people today are the only people who should be allowed to have a monopoly on the historical injustices of slavery? Or do you believe that every people has been at some point enslaved in the past?
Yeah, especially by Europeans. Europeans enslaved themselves first.
But you know that the Arab
one
states.
second, bro, and then proceeded to enslave other people. Once they got bored of enslaving themselves, killing, starving, murdering, pillaging themselves, they started with other sets of people.
And the Africans that sold their brothers into slavery, they hadn't captured them as slaves already. It's mad. It's weird how when they're in Africa, they're prisoners of war, but when they're given to a European.
Anthony brought up a good point about that.
George, if I'll give you my view on that point.
All right, well, let's hear from DC Brad, because he was talking first, and then Illyri, please. DC Brad, what was you saying?
That is a fact, but the problem is that when people examine that history, the reason why you can't really blame Africans, because Africans did not have a concept of race. The one thing Europeans were able to develop that made the greatest weapon that Europeans used to conquer the known world was the idea of race. If we look at the first Boer War that occurred in South Africa between Dutch settlers and the British, they ultimately ruled out that like we are both European. So like that, you can bring that up, but understand that Africans, like there's like, for example, Maku and Witness would have all been part of the same empire at a period of time, but we still fought against each other because we had no concept that the world was bigger than our little, our empire.
I just racial allegiance. Yeah, I get you.
That's terrible.
That's terrible. Go ahead,
my opinion. This is my opinion. You mentioned those Africans who were involved in the slavery. My opinion, they are scumbags, and if it is a hell, may they rot there forever. Now, in regards to the Europeans who took part in it, they are scumbags as well, and if there's a hell, they rot there as well. Amen. So you're not going to get a pass. None of them are going to get a pass from me.
That was a cheap shot anyway. Don't worry about it. That's all right.
Can I just argue the point that they all, black and white, get a pass from me because the times were different?
Yeah, that's slick. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
Can I ask something that's a little bit irrelevant?
No,
please.
Okay.
Why
is it irrelevant?
Sorry, it's a little bit irrelevant because I just
Why?
She's
gonna ask it anyway.
Anyway.
Yeah.
What's you said about you think this is a spiritual thing, yeah? So what's your spiritual beliefs?
I am a Christian.
So why did you throw out the 666 sign?
It's not. I said it depends how you look at it. I think it's an okay symbol. Somebody else might see it as a 666. Depends. All right. They were saying it was white power or whatever.
Yeah, it's apparently, a white power symbol.
Apparently, white W,
cool.
P, upside down P.
Yeah. All right, mate.
Apparently.
Cool. All right. Thank you for answering.
You're welcome.
So you did know it was a white power symbol as well, George?
I resent the fact that the media has tried so hard to make something as innocuous as the fucking OK sign into a white power symbol, and that's why I was using it. Yes.
It's like the way people say joggers when they don't want to say N-I-G-G-E-R-S. Yeah. And when you tell them they're saying something racist, they go, "Oh no, it's just joggers. That's all it is. I'm just talking about joggers." It's the same thing with that. It's a very smart trick.
Can we talk about the N-word?
So would you say it means what you've been trained for it to mean? What you've accepted it for it to
Basically, mean? Yeah. Because I know people who use the word jogger and they just mean N-word, yeah. I hate having to say the N-word. It makes me feel like such an infant. You know what I mean?
Buttons.
How do you guys feel about the fact that white people are saying N-I-G-G-A to each other in a friendly way in private?
Is this where the conversation is going, fam?
I don't know. I'm trying to
He's trying to run
slavery,
from
guys.
the transatlantic slave trade.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Let me just apologize. How much reparations do you guys want? You take Cash App? Like, what the fuck? Like,
it's very interesting. It's very interesting. You mentioned reparations. As you mentioned, as someone told you, 1834, I think Britain abolished slavery, but they then had to pay reparations to the slave owners. And so Britain officially stopped paying reparations.
Would you say they?
Hold on, please. Sorry, finish what you're saying, Larry.
Thank you very much. And Britain officially stopped paying reparations to the descendants of the British slave owners in 2015. So that whole group of people, they were receiving reparations, and the country didn't have a problem giving them reparations.
Larry, Britain weren't paying, we were paying, brother.
Yes, the ordinary man was paying, and then the treasury would take the money.
Is that not slavery itself then? Is that not slavery itself that we're paying for it? For something
and then
that
the treasury would take the money and then would pay those family members.
Silence.
What is your opinion on that, George?
I don't think slavery ever ended. I just think they changed the design of it. It's designed now in a way that we don't even recognize it as slavery, because it comes in a form of taxation and per hour, hourly wage, sweat equity. It's all based on the same thing, really, but just a different form. There's no whips and chains. The whips and chains is we'll restrict your money, we'll restrict your options.
You see these conversations, yeah, when you have brothers like this guy, yeah, the only people that I see making any valid argument are the ones that just blatantly hate black people. Those people like this guy that try to justify it and you know what I'm saying, like play a couple cards and try and do a little peekaboo thing, like you always end up sounding like a dickhead, man, because you're just chatting shit. Like you're lying, like you definitely lied a couple of times in the midst, and I know that you lied and it wasn't a mistake. Like you lied, innit? You know what I'm saying? It's like I'd rather you be like a proper hardcore right wing, you know what I'm saying? But like at least they can hold their position because they just outright hate black people. You know what I'm saying?
They're just straight up with it. They're not trying to sugarcoat it.
Bro, if you talk to a neo-Nazi, right now on this panel, they would tell you that they want everything you want, right? And they care about it, and they would just shift the blame upwards to the Jews, just in the same way that a lot of you shift it upwards to white people. And I'm saying the answer is a bit more complicated than either.
I get the concept that you mean, though. I get what you mean. We all want the same for each other, but
yeah, we want the same for each other. We all have in-group preference, and we all care about our own. There's perfectly natural and almost beautiful and spiritual to just want to care about your own family. That, like for me personally, there's nothing more amazing than like a mother's love for a kid, right? Or like an uncle's love for his niece, right? This is like nice. So race or ethnicity, you could see that as like just an extension of your family, right? And in some sense, it's natural to care about people who look like you and to want in-group preference. But that's all I was saying. I'm not going to then make the jump that it's all Jews or it's all whites or it's all whatever, because like, dude, I don't believe that. I just don't. There is a Jewish elite, there is a white elite, but they don't, as we've discussed, they don't care about race, they don't care about religion.
Yeah, no problem. But like, can you not just be honest? Like what what do you want me to say?
You want me to say I hate black people? Honestly, no, dude, I don't have any animosity towards people of any other.
Sorry, I'm not telling you what to say. I'm saying can you not be honest, because I believe
about what would you like me to be honest about? I feel like I've come here and been honest
about everything. Like clearly, you know, like
dude, if at any point in this conversation you think I'm not being honest, just be like, yo, and check me on it, because right now I don't really understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, I did try to check you, and you said that you didn't actually understand that slavery.
Yeah, I was wrong about, and I admitted, I put my hands up and I said, look, I was wrong about that date of slavery. Sorry. Yeah.
You can't. I'm sorry, you can't be that stupid. Like you really can't. You can't believe that slavery was abolished, yeah, for black people, which is what you kind of made it sound like it.
No. What I said was in the country of England, as in owning a slave in England, what has been like the first country to do that was England. In the Norman times as well. So.
Bro, but listen, why would you make that point in response to comments about the transatlantic slave trade or the part that the British Empire has played in the TAS? Why would you then make?
We weren't quite at the point where I made those comments, right? We hadn't gone full into the transatlantic slave trade. We were just like glossing over it as a topic. Now that we're fully into it, if you want to have a real conversation about it, I'm going to need some more facts, because I'm not a historian, and I will need a Google tab open to have this conversation with.
So how can you have these opinions without facts?
How can I want my own people to have their own home?
How can you have such strong opinions based on no facts then? Because you seem very strongly opinionated about things that you're not really factually sure about.
Again, I don't have a really strong opinion.
You know why it is?
Trade. Sorry, my opinion on the transatlantic slave trade is this: it was the old days. It was the old days, and different rules applied in the old days. We now live in the new days with different, more pussy kind of liberal rules.
Right.
People don't enslave each other anymore.
Your sensibilities. Hold on 1 second. Your sensibilities, the things that you claim to want to stand for, this white nation and white
No, I never said that. Did I? No, see.
I'm encapsulating. Slow down.
Elry tried to do this earlier. Encapsulate me as a white supremacist. Yeah.
I didn't say white supremacy.
Because you're saying I only care about white people. I want this for everyone, Mike. I want this for every country in the world.
1 second, brother, please. Like, before I get my point off, you've said more than me, and I'm the one that started to make the point. You have to have some patience, bruv. And I think your emotiveness is what actually triggers you to start supporting things and claiming things when you don't have the information to hand. You don't have historical facts backing you, and you're going to be led.
What difference does the transatlantic slave trade make to my country?
While I'm talking, please, I implore you to have some discipline. Please have some discipline, because you're never going to achieve any of your goals, any of the things you say you want as a nationalist, without some discipline and without being armed with the truth and with facts. Otherwise, you're going to be wielding around a bag of lies, misconceptions, and you're going to get called, you're going to get checked, and you're going to get undressed in public, and it's not going to be a good look. So I would say just take time to learn and hear what other people are saying as well. What I was going to say to you is somebody that's vehemently in support of the independence of your nation and of your people and of that for others. I'm not denying that you want that for others, but you definitely want it for yourself. And I'm saying when you want it for yourself, that is not a very forward-thinking strategy. That's like a way of old. That's like an old school kind of rhetoric. So I want you to understand that what you're looking for isn't progressive. It isn't in line with whatever you're calling liberalism, and is actually you're harking back to the old.
No, I'm not a liberal, mate. I'm not a liberal. I think
liberalism
is really
cool.
bad.
So we've established that. So what's the opposite of what? If you're not a liberal, what are you? What does it make you if you're not a liberal?
That's a good question. Liberalism's in the middle. If you listen to the liberals, they claim that they're the middle of the spectrum, and on the ends, the two ends, you've got these things called far right and far left. I don't really subscribe to that horseshoe view of politics myself, so I don't really know what the opposite of a liberal is. Such a great question. I know what the opposite of a libertarian is. I know what the opposite of a socialist is. I don't know what you are then.
Well, that's if you see yourself as being the opposite.
Is there even a word for it? An anti-liberal, I suppose. I mean, I'm not even. There are some good things about liberalism, but for the most part, I think liberalism's been a shit show. Yeah.
So you don't know what you are then?
Well, I could call myself an anti-globalist. I call myself a Christian. I call myself a capitalist. People here are very keen to label me a ethno-nationalist. Like there are lots of labels you could apply to me, right? But again, my stance against liberalism, no, I think the best description of that would be anti-liberalism.
But that's the thing. You keep on criticizing. You keep on criticizing liberalism, but you don't say anything about that elephant in the room that's causing one of the major problems you complain about, which is immigration, capitalism. Yeah, no. You never talk about that.
Why are you conflating immigration and capitalism, my man?
Because capitalism is the driving force that brings in cheap labor. All these people that are being all these let me finish. All these people who are being brought into your country are not being brought in because the government feels the need to love these people and hold them and hug them.
Correct.
They are working with the elites you've mentioned within the corporations, the agricultural industry, the manufacturing industry, the textile industry. There is a demand for cheap labor because for whatever reason, in certain European countries, they don't have enough people within their race between the age group of 18 to 30 who are doing those jobs. So they're bringing in. So capitalism is bringing all these people in.
No, see, again, you just made a jump again. You just the elites and the corporations are working together to bring in cheap labor, immigrants, legal or illegal. Yeah. I agree. Why are you suddenly against capitalism now? Now I can't own a house. Now I can't save money.
Hear what I said. Let me tell you what I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm against capitalism. And I actually said this to you earlier. I said that, and I used the word critique. You critique liberalism, you criticize socialism, Marxism, everything. But you're very quiet about something which is causing one of the major problems that you complain about. And I found that very surprising.
Okay, can I ask you your ethnic background also? Sorry, the guy who's been speaking up.
Yeah, I'm mostly British. There's a little bit of Jew thrown in for good measure. Oh, and Scandinavian.
Okay,
like a bit of Scandinavian.
It's all right.
Does it?
So you wouldn't be able to see it in the eyes of somebody of a different race or a different nationality It's
he might be able
Why?
to.
Why?
No, he might
Why
be able
not?
to.
Nah, well, it's
No, but
clear
he
he
doesn't.
can't see how people are
Yeah.
influenced to come to the Western countries because of capitalism. Like your man said earlier, he goes, people, it's money that makes people come here. It's not the system.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
mean,
because the system cares about
things,
them.
but bro,
Because
these
the value
things,
that they put to a certain society, like this society is advanced and you get more opportunity and you got more prospects to become rich if you go there.
he
And
has all
it's
the
the
wait,
idea
one
that's been
second.
But
sold to
that
everybody.
isn't, again,
And
One
then
that
minute,
people get here,
propaganda. That
Sorry,
people
one
get
minute.
here and then
propaganda is not
realize it's a
capitalism.
drug-ridden country, and you know what I mean.
Sorry,
Mhm,
maybe
yeah.
one second, yeah? 1 second. This guy has all the capacity and the resources to understand that. Yeah,
True.
him being white doesn't stop him from understanding that at all. In fact, most in my 20s, it was white guys that were telling me all this shit. Like it weren't black guys, it was white guys that were telling me all this stuff. You get?
You don't think that's funny?
Okay.
You don't think it's ironic that white people came up with with white supremacy?
We're not waving that flag. I'm not waving that flag around here. I'm just saying that's a fact.
All right.
You said something like I think you just need to do more work, bro. Like I definitely don't trust some of the statements you make and say that they're accidental. I think there's either a deliberate ploy to avoid certain truths and hide them if you can during discourse, or you're deliberately avoiding doing certain works because they might challenge your perspective. Because
dude, I will say,
Larry just said 1 second, last sentence. Larry just said capitalism, yeah, and you said rich elites, and you said that there's a conflation between the two. That's insane.
There is
capitalism is private ownership. Capitalism is private ownership for profit. And then you're trying to,
and you want to get rid of that. You want to get rid of being able to make profit and owning things.
No. I'm picking up on your attempt to say that capitalism and rich elites are not like one and the same. Like it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, they're not. The capital. So do you know what the definition of capitalism is? If you type in what is capitalism on Google, hey, come on, I'm talking now. Don't fucking seriously. All right. But I'm the one who's getting gangbanged on this fucking panel. That's the whole point.
So what do you need to become rich? Not wealthy, but rich. Wealth is land and assets, but you need money, capital, to become richer. So capital and capitalism and being rich is the same thing.
Okay, capitalism is an economic system that allows people to become rich. But if you put a cap on capitalism, you would have capitalism without billionaires, wouldn't you? So it's like you could keep the economic system of working and profit and owning land and all that stuff without becoming socialist, without becoming communist, without a different economic system. What you guys are doing
because you still
is
have people like
conflating
Pablo
the
Escobar
entire system. Yeah, there'll be people who cheat the system in any system, but that's not the point. You're conflating the system, which has worked very well, by the way, in homogenous religious countries for a very long time, with this new globo homo corporatism, which isn't even really fucking capitalism. It's very socialistic. It's very international. It's very doesn't care about.
But the new system is not that bad.
Wait, Brad. 1 second.
Yeah, right. I bet it's not. For you, it's not that bad. For you,
hold on 1 second. You said
big up to the new corporatism system.
All hail the new world order.
Yo, you lot, man. Wait,
you're literally a Freemason. Fuck you.
1 second. You said put a cap on capitalism. The definition of capitalism has no cap. Yeah, so you're trying to redefine capitalism.
No, that's a free market. That would be anarcho-capitalism. That would be capitalism without limits.
No, but that's not capitalism.
Okay, if I use a different word, if I say I'm pro-mercantilism, right, i.e. being able to buy things, sell things, trade things, would you be okay with that? Is it just the word capitalism you don't like?
No,
because I can change the words I use if that's what you really want.
Can I ask him a question when you're done, bro?
Wait, Fred. Emma was on a point. Like I just want it to be clear.
It's just you're picking up on the definition of capitalism, then you're trying to redefine it, and challenge people on the fact that they have a problem with capitalism itself. We know what capitalism is. It's ownership for profit, right? It's really that simple. It's not really much than that.
Yeah, agree.
So owners that are making profit, they need to make, in order to make profit, certain conditions need to be met, right? In terms of labor, in terms of the ratio of labor versus income, and all of these things, and people get rich off it. Like, it's not complicated, and I don't know why. Like the statement that you made, this is what I'm saying. Like, I feel like you either know and you're pretending not to know, or you actually just don't fucking know, bro. Because you're to say that rich elites are something completely separate from the capitalist system is just dumb. It don't make no sense. It's the end result of a capitalist system. Inevitably, when you start putting caps on things may be different, but that's not capitalism.
So suddenly, so if I said, for example, we're not gonna like so your only definition of capitalism is unbridled, total free market capitalism.
Yes.
Like, even I think capitalism has to be balanced by the people, right? I.e., the ethnic block of the people.